A 42-year-old mechanic used a high-pressure air hose to clean a deep gash on his palm. The compressed air did not just clean the wound. It breached the venous system, forcing a massive volume of gas directly into his bloodstream. As his blood pressure plummets, clinicians must determine how a hand injury caused a massive obstruction in his pulmonary circulation. We will examine the physics of pressure gradients and the deadly mechanics of a venous air embolism. Upon arrival at the emergency department, his blood pressure is a dangerous 80/40, indicating that the air has reached his central circulation. His skin is cold, and his lips show a distinct shade of cyanosis. Cyano, from the Greek for dark blue, and osis, meaning a condition. His blood is not carrying enough oxygen to maintain his natural color. On the monitor, his vitals reveal a body in crisis, a heart rate of 135 beats per minute, and a blood pressure of 80/40 millimeters of mercury. This state of hypotension, hypo meaning under, and tension referring to the pressure of the blood against arterial walls, suggests his heart is failing. Despite receiving high-flow oxygen, his saturation remains stuck at 82%. The medical team suspects a massive heart attack or a blood clot, but the source of the catastrophe is hidden beneath a small 2-centimeter bandage on his right hand. As the team rushes RL into a stabilization bay, the priority is to understand why a healthy mechanic is experiencing sudden pump failure. On physical examination, the physician notices the veins in RL's neck are bulging and tense, a sign of jugular venous distension. This indicates that blood is backing up because it cannot enter the right side of the heart. When the doctor places a stethoscope over the chest, they do not hear the crisp lub-dub of a healthy heart. Instead, they hear a loud, splashing, churning sound known as a mill-wheel murmur. This sound is a hallmark of a large gas bubble being whipped into a foam by the heart's own contractions. RL is in a state of extreme tachycardia, tachy meaning fast, and cardia referring to the heart as his body tries to compensate. Ultrasound reveals a massive dilation of the right ventricle. The ventricular walls, from the Latin venter, meaning cavity, are bulging under immense pressure. Normally, the right ventricle is smaller than the left, but here, the ratio is greater than 0.6:1. The interventricular septum is actually bowing into the left side, creating a D sign on the monitor. It is a biological vapor lock. Just as air trapped in a fuel line stops an engine, a pocket of gas is trapped in the right ventricular outflow tract. This is confirmed as his end-tidal carbon dioxide levels drop sharply because blood is not reaching the lung tissues to exchange gases. The mystery of RL's collapse is solved when a coworker arrives. He explains that RL tried to blow out the dirt from his palm using a high-pressure air hose. To a mechanic, this seemed like an efficient way to clean a wound, but the physics of industrial equipment are not compatible with human biology. The hose was set to 100 pounds per square inch. In fluid dynamics, air moves from high pressure to low pressure. While the hose air was screaming out at over 6 times atmospheric pressure, the blood pressure in RL's veins was significantly lower. This created a massive pressure gradient, turning his hand laceration into a high-speed injection port. This resulted in a venous air embolism. Embolism comes from the Greek embolos, meaning a plug or stopper. When the nozzle touched the open wound, it forced a massive volume of air directly into the venous system. For a 70-kilogram adult, the lethal volume of air is only 3 to 5 milliliters per kilogram, or about 1 cup of air. However, the rate of infusion is just as deadly. A rate of over 100 milliliters per second can cause immediate collapse. Imagine injecting a handful of marbles into a garden hose. The small ones might flow through, but the large ones jam the nozzle. In RL's case, the air bubbles traveled through his veins to the vena cava and into the right heart, forming a physical blockade. As the clock reaches the 2-hour mark, the crisis in RL's chest migrates to his brain. Suddenly, his right arm jerks uncontrollably and his gaze deviates. He is having a focal seizure. This shift indicates the air is no longer confined to the right side of his heart. It has entered his arterial circulation, known as paradoxical arterial embolization. To understand how gas reached the brain, we look at a hidden anatomical flaw present in 25% of the population. A patent foramen ovale. Foramen comes from the Latin for an opening, and ovale refers to its oval shape. In the womb, this small flap allows blood to bypass the lungs, but it typically seals shut after birth. However, in 1 out of every 4 people, it remains a potential doorway. Usually, higher pressure in the left atrium keeps this door pushed closed. But as air bubbles cause an extreme increase in pulmonary vascular resistance, the pressure in the right atrium skyrockets. This pressure reversal blows the door open, allowing a stream of bubbles to bypass the pulmonary filter and shoot straight into the aorta. Once in the arteries, these bubbles cause ischemia, from Eichine, meaning to hold back, and hyma, meaning blood. This is a restriction of blood supply to tissues. At the microscopic level, the air-blood interface acts like a foreign surface. This activates platelets to form microthrombi, or small clots, clogging the fine mesh of the brain's capillaries. RL is now facing a dual threat, a heart that cannot pump and a brain being starved of oxygen. The medical team must act within a critical 6-hour window to reverse the physics of the gas expansion. They rush him to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, a specialized pressurized vessel designed to force the body to obey Boyle's law. This principle states that at a constant temperature, the volume of a gas is inversely proportional to the pressure exerted upon it. By increasing the atmospheric pressure to nearly 3 times that of sea level, doctors are physically crushing the air bubbles inside RL's vessels, shrinking them until they are small enough to pass through the capillaries and be absorbed. This is the definitive sign of a mill wheel murmur, a splashing sound heard through the stethoscope as the heart beats against trapped air bubbles.